Now, speaking of cool people and cool dudes, man, the guy who's on with us now, the coolest of the cool, Mr. Jesse Marcel III himself is back on Skywatchers. It feels like we haven't talked in months, but we actually just talked a couple weeks ago. And
yeah, boy, I like that intro. It sounds pretty good. Coolest of the cool.
You're the man. You're living.
Put it on my card.
You're living my dream, sir. You're part of a project that is, creating a flying car. Which, by the way, that is the coolest thing in geekdom. You know that, right? I think I speak for all the geeks in the world, by the way.
That establishment, yeah, definitely.
I am so looking forward to. It's a single passenger. Never mind. This is going to be the new Uber vehicle. That's it.
Oh yeah.
So Jesse, give us an update of what's going on in the last couple of weeks since the project now is out there and everybody knows about it. Tell us what's the latest with the whole website and everything.
What I've done, dynamically with the engineering behind the car, of course, not much is going on that way. I'm just deep in the throes of trying to raise funds to get the thing built. I had to do a kind of a long production for like I said, the largest sports drink company out there because they want to join me on this thing. So that's a really good plus. Other than that, just lining everything up. I have the place that's going to build the body panels all lined up. Computer's already pretty much done. Just a matter of threading the needle and getting it done. So the whole goal is by Christmas is to have this thing with a man aboard and fly it around.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, that is my goal.
Really?
Is to make it this year, yeah.
All right, Now what kind of a license are you going to need to fly this thing?
It's light enough; it's considered ultralight, so there is no license at this point.
Really?
Yeah, there is nothing. Now that's going to change drastically quick once it gets going. But at this point, there is nothing. And we'll work with the FAA. They have a certain protocol for doing the testing. That's what we're going to be doing. It's
funny as it is, I just downloaded the documents for the thing I was telling you about earlier.
And you brought up there's another. It's a flying car. It's basically an airplane with folding wings out there. And they've been ramping that up for the last few years. It looks pretty amazing. Obviously, it's for what it does. I think it's pretty cool. What I'm doing is completely different. But but what they have is I actually got hold of them. I think they're out of Hungary at one point, and see once they get to the point where they're going to be putting this thing together, if they want to basically do a little bit of stuff on my airborne motors, as far as being another flying car, yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Wow.
But yeah, everything's rolling along. The Indiegogo, it's one of those things. I'm not that great at it, to be honest. It needs. I'm promoting. I'm getting tons of hits. So at the very least, I'm getting a lot of buzz out there, and that's kind of what it is. If you get the louder the buzz, the more people get attracted to it, and then it'll all take off, so to speak.
Yeah, but don't give up.
It'll all take off. Oh, come on, really?
Yeah, that's a little.
That's a good pun.
Say that. It just.
But look, don't give up on trying to get some funds raised by mediums like Indiegogo if it doesn't work out the first time. It is a great way to get that buzz going early on, and then eventually you will raise the capital. Have people been donating to the cause yet?
There's a few. Some have. I have a lot. Some people, what's interesting, like some people I know down in Louisiana, I don't know if we talked about this, they donated billboard space, so my car is all over some big electronic billboards in southern Louisiana when you drive by and that kind of thing. And I've had some basically non-monetary, but some people are really helping to get that word out there. And at the end, like I said, that's all part of the deal. The bigger I can get it, the more buzz I can get, the more people I can get interested in it. So.
That's cool, man. Has any big TV shows approached you yet? Because I know a lot of TV shows would love to put this on there, like History Channel and some other spots.
I was supposed to do a PR program that was supposed to come in at the end of last week, and it didn't happen. So I'm out there trying to shake a few trees. I'm gonna, I did hook up with a company that kind of does that, but it turned out it probably wasn't quite what it was supposed to be. So I'm gonna go out there and start shaking some trees myself. I have lots of people calling in for radio and that kind of thing, but
it needs to be video.
Yeah, it needs to, to have like your show. It needs to be people to be excited about talking about it. I do have like a IFN radio. I think it is. They're doing a 5-part special on me every Monday. We do like a 1-hour little deal on it, which is a lot of fun. And we've talked all about the car, but now we're kind of going into the history of my family history and where some of these ideas might have come from. And then a little bit about my father and that sort of thing.
Do you find it distracting a little bit, though, when everybody wants to know more about your family history than about this project itself? Because I know you really want to push the project.
Actually, it really hasn't been. Since my story is pretty much out there, personally, right. and the Roswell thing, that they're really excited about the car. So it's only it's basically where I'll draw the conversation into that. One of the people I said it's really interesting how, if you're willing to believe this, is that some people are meant, families, whatever, you're meant to do certain things. And it's basically your destiny is to do whatever. And if my grandfather's destiny was to be part of that UFO, maybe this is my destiny, is to make this truly what a flying car that we really would have pictured in science fiction.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry. You're related to who? What?
You got to admit, though, it is funny that you're taking on this project, considering who your family is.
Yeah, it is. I have just as many people who talk to me and think, well, are you getting some of these crazy ideas from something else out there? And I thought, well, I'm not saying it's not. Who knows? Anything is possible in the universe or universes we live in. So, who knows? There's the endless possibilities.
Speaking of which, I was reading earlier about Podesta. Segueing a little bit here into UFOs for a second. I was reading, about Podesta saying that 2014, his biggest failure was not coming out with, more information on UFOs or the UFO files that the government has in their possession. Being that you are part of the Marcel family, and it's legendary what what your grandfather went through and what your father went through. What are your thoughts on Podesta's comments there?
It's I would say very unique at the very least. It's how did they, he came out, that was very important to him, but for what reason was it important to him? Was it actually bringing the information out? Was it for distraction of some kind? Or, how I like to think about it, is back to that buzz idea, and that UFOs, alien life, is more and more commonplace out there, and maybe the tide's turning a little bit where people are starting to want to join the idea that there's UFOs out there, and he wanted to be part of that as it's turning, because it's popular right now. To what end, who knows? But I'm getting more and more of that from people, that really feel that such incredible changes are happening as we speak, and the more we can get people on board, the better.
Yeah, no kidding. Do you get recognized by people, because of the UFO stuff?
Walking down the street.
Yeah, do you walk down in tomorrow, people are like, hey, Jesse Marcel III right there.
Only in Roswell. Only in Roswell it happens.
There is it's kind of a one funny thing. I was an investment banker for quite a few years. I did that gig for a while, and I remember it's for one of the largest banks in the world, and we all have a big, BS meeting with all the VPs and all the insurance, companies coming to sell a bank their insurance policies to cover, I don't know, whatever.
The VIPs from the ABCs,
yeah, exactly.
DOJs to get the.
That's exactly just a big meeting. I bet they spent $1 million on this meeting. So tons of people, and somebody I didn't recognize a couple tables down said, "Hey, your name's Jesse Marcel. That reminds me of somebody that I've heard about," and the interesting thing is, at that point, the meeting was all about UFOs, all about Roswell, all about what they had seen, what they had heard.
And that's with you not even opening up the conversation that
Not
way?
even saying anything about it. And the whole place everybody was talking about what they'd seen or their cousin, uncle, whatever. And like I said, for 4 hours, this huge meeting they'd set up and flown people in all over the world was completely a bust because everybody wanted to talk about. At the end of the day, nobody had any idea what anybody else was there for. So it was.
Who started? I got to ask, who started that conversation, that tangent?
I think it was a head of a title insurance company, actually.
The head of the title insurance company was UFO?
Yeah, well, he mentioned something about he recognized my name from somewhere.
Oh, it's like underwriters found it.
Stay away from this guy. No, he'd heard my name, and then he brought up his Roswell. Were you ever attached to that? And I said, yeah, that's actually, my grandfather, et cetera, and my father. And a dead silence. Everybody kind of hushes around, gets around to learn about it. And like I said, literally for 4 hours, and extravagant, all the food and the drink and everything is going on, and everybody's having a good old time. And that the whole afternoon was spent there. And like I said, that one word of business.
Jesse, what happened there? They had a convention for ufology. You just didn't know about it.
I went the wrong way.
They used you. There was money made, bro, and you didn't get a penny because you thought that you were there for a business meeting.
That could be. I thought maybe
that's what happened.
Misunderstood. But yeah, it was.
That's incredible.
That is incredible.
those will happen. It's not. I mean, honestly, I don't know. My ideas aren't any better than anybody else's out there. I mean, I've been indoctrinated, so I may have had a thought about it more than the average person on the street. But people feel a certain security in telling me their stories. That hey, you were part of that, so
right.
It's no big deal if I tell you that my son saw something.
And because you won't judge because who your family is. You're not going to look at somebody and say like, oh, he's crazy.
Exactly, it's actually kind of interesting because I hear some amazing stories. I mean, and it's usually somebody, I've never told anybody this, and I'm not really into this stuff, but it's always been in the back of my mind. Or, and sometimes it's like 20 years ago, and we've never been able to figure it out. Just those kind of things. But like everybody has their stories, and down to the story like my wife's OBGYN. We're sitting there getting ready to have the baby, and guess what he's talking about? You're Jesse Marcel? Wow. I love this stuff.
Oh, have I got a story to tell you?
That's exactly right.
It started in 1947, you see.
I got to ask you, though, after a while, does it get a little tiresome when someone has a story to tell, especially when you're in a rush to be somewhere else?
A little bit. Where it gets overly cumbersome, honestly, is when somebody really has a story that they believe in. It's when somebody comes up and they tell me something that's so ridiculous, and that's this. It gets to the point where, you live on a different planet, you visit here once in a while, and you live amongst the trees on Mars. It's once you get out that far, it's like hey, good luck. That sounds like an interesting, fascinating tale. But it's more. I'm more interested in the diehard. The people that just happen to be driving, walking, seeing whatever. There's a lot of family legacies out there where that's not brought out of the family where they experience something and it's just amazing.
Yeah.
So actually I do enjoy that, and this car thing. I mean, but it's honestly it's like anything else. I mean, it's kind of a hobby, and it's a
the car better not be a hobby.
No, the UFOs.
Yeah, I want to be flying one of these in the next 10 years.
The car. Yeah, I mean, we already.
We got to give it to the 1%ers first.
Unfortunately, it's going to take big money to move it. But like I said, it's like even Tesla came out today about an announcement about some batteries to power your household.
Oh yeah,
I heard about the Samsung. Wasn't it Samsung that came out with some news about batteries that self-charge or they charge wirelessly?
We've been able to do that. I know Tesla came up with a battery pack for your home today, or it was brought working it out.
Yeah, yesterday
you can be off the grid
with it,
and it could have been yesterday. Yeah, I'm a day behind. But and it just shows where
close enough.
That technology adapts perfectly for what I'm doing with the car, and it is. I mean, the initial tester model is a one-seater, but it takes almost nothing to turn it into four. So it's really a meaningful. It'll be more than like I always tag it as a sports car, aero sports car, but it will be a useful mode of transportation soon enough. And it's just it was interesting. I was on another radio show the other night, and a gentleman called in, and I tried to find.
I feel so cheated on now.
Yeah, I thought we were the only ones, Jesse.
They have there's a guy called in because they've been working on a flying car for decades. It's basically it's another airplane that has folding wings, that kind of thing, and they can't get people to insure it. And this is the way I look at it is no problem. We'll create our own insurance company. It's like all these little things that have to be we have to tackle, but it's nothing we're doing right now can't be done, and it's just a matter of it is hard. I mean, whenever you're at the forefront of technology and an idea, it's a little harder to get people to get on board. But once they get on board and you start getting some acceleration, then the sky's the limit. Oh, there goes another pun. Anyway,
he's full of puns tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Almost a battle of monkeys there. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's just a matter of we can do that. As far as getting an insurance company, I actually had put together the concept of a self-bonding insurance company for yourself for your car. It's like, why do you have to pay all these exorbitant fees to an insurance company to do your car when you could pay a lot less to have a bond, like say $1 million bond sitting in reserve in case you cause a car accident, and it gets rid of everybody. But of course, everybody has there's money to be made in selling insurance. It didn't really go. It fell in kind of, the ears didn't want to listen to it because it basically wipe out a lot of the reasons for insurance companies. But like in this, we'll do the same thing. There's no reason we can't get up. We'll tie together some bonds, and then your insurance payment will pay to fund those bonds, and then they'll also protect an insurance atmosphere. So
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is no different than when cars started getting made at first. And I mean, look, it's a new technology. We just got to get used to it. That's all it is.
It's the exact same thing.
Yeah, but there was nobody that was dealing with car accidents back then.
Sure.
You hit someone, you kept on driving. Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
Keep running. Yeah, but like I said, and today it's easier to do. So
it's easier to run people over. That's right.
Yeah,
is
easier. Man, I see some of those videos, man, crazy. Anyway, it's just to create your own insurance company and do something. At the very least, you create it. Then it'll get regulated. Then it'll be manipulated to something that's workable for everybody, and that's kind of what the process will happen. But at least with our car, part of it will be an insurance policy to cover you running into something, and we'll be the ones that create that insurance policy. Those kind of things. So, it's literally small hurdles to cross to make it work. But the rest of it though, we're ready to go. It's just a matter of just getting A, B, and C put together right now.
And that's the hard part right there, getting the initial setup put together. Now, I mean, how long have you been, had this in the back of your mind?
I'd actually been sketching things out for at least 10 years.
I figured because this is not something somebody just, one day wakes up and says, oh, you know what, today I'm going to start working on a flying car.
And usually, me as a designer, what I do is you start out with something that's might be vast. It might be really complicated. Like in this case, this car, the concept started as something very large, and you keep tooling it and you keep redesigning it, getting the same outcome in a smaller and smaller, tighter package, and adjusting technologies so they fit together better and better and better. So you start out with something that's really cumbersome, and now honestly, this car is it's like I said, the technology is very complex, but the actual carry out of the technology is very simple.
Did you
be a piece of artwork? I'll tell you by the time you're done.
Yeah.
I think I was out. We've been out. I live in Eastern Washington and out in Spokane, Washington, and to do what we want to do, we're going to be moving. I'm moving my family to the coast, so we're somewhere between Seattle and Portland, that kind of thing. And it was interesting. We were looking at some airport homes, that where you buy them, they have a hangar, and you can use that for a shop, etc., and test it. Now, this doesn't need a runway or anything like that, but it kind of fits if there's nobody around you. You have a big, wide open space to test things in. Everybody's always loved the look of the car, and it was interesting. There's a lady's house that we were going with a realtor and looking at, and she had to be at least in her late 70s. And she looked at the car and said, wow, that's really sexy. So every age group looks at this thing and think that's pretty dang cool. So I'm actually I'm really happy that other people kind of see the vision, see that it turned out that way. That because part of it's it's not just function, part of it's form.
Do you actually have a full 1-to-1 build out already put together?
Nope, just small scale. All through using 3D printers and that kind of thing. The next step, part of the idea was to build like about a 70% scale model, and it just comes down to where the technology is today. It's almost I don't need to. Things can be adjusted or manipulated on the fly. That I'm just going to the next model is going to be 100% where it can be manned. And because of the way it's set up, it doesn't even have to be manned outside. You could test it inside of a hangar, that kind of thing. So.
Well, with inside of the hangar, you have no wind, no shear, no nothing.
Right.
You want to be able to at least test it against the elements.
Well,
the atmosphere.
You want to start out with as few variables as possible.
Well,
and then you start tuning it up as you go along, go further and further and further. So initially, with the FAA there and that kind of thing, we'll probably end up by doing that. Then it's really not going to need to be tethered. So my concept is to bring it and have it tethered inside of an auditorium kind of thing, and then see how it does, and then be able to just basically fly it out the door, and show them how the stability of it and that kind of thing. So
sweet, all right.
So yeah, no, everything is online right now.
I am more than excited. I'm just running on lack of sleep syndrome since I got a flight.
He's kidding.
No. I am really excited about this.
He is. No, he really is. This is actually how he sounds when he's excited, by the way.
Yep. It is something excited about. It is a change. I mean, it really is. It's something that's useful. Like the same thing as, it is something that you will be able to eventually fly to work in. it has that ability. So it is something to get excited about.
Now, did you ever talk to your father about this before he passed? Did you guys brainstorm on this project?
No, not on the car. There were some other technologies that I want to employ in the car that weren't necessarily for the car. But like I said, originally the car was just a test bed for me to test out this other technology. And so the other one, it's far more complex, far more theoretical, but it could be used. It would basically be another means to change direction and that kind of thing. But it basically, in borrowing a physics term, it entangles the molecules that surround the little machine, and it'll divert gravity in two different paths. And
whoa! Say that again.
Well,
hold on. Rewind. Say that one more time, Jesse. Hold on.
It'll divert gravity in two different paths, or at least trick it so it seems like it's working that way.
Okay.
And what is it's the same thing. You're creating an imbalance, but it's a vectored imbalance.
So is that a kinetic energy diverter?
Well, kinetic. I mean, it's more of a built-up. The best way to put it would be it's basically it creates static inertia. Inertia means static force that's not going anywhere.
Okay,
but
so you're not going to be able to make a right-hand turn. I mean, you're not going to make a 90-degree turn on this.
Well, actually, you could. It's basically, you figure that when this is done, let's just put it. Say it's a size of a beach ball. When you're all done, that's the mechanism, and it's fully sealed. It's not pushing air around like our technology right now. All we're doing is pushing air around, propeller, turbos, turbines, whatever. Whatever. So this actually manipulates a little bit of the way that gravity attaches itself to the center mass of that sphere, and it basically picture that if you got the sphere in your hand, you could set it against the wall and it would stay against the wall, or it would have a push in one direction of vector.
Can I put it on a backpack? Can I put it in my backpack and start flying around with it if I got a good remote control?
Well, the big thing is things change quite a bit when you're talking about vertical. It's different than horizontal. The way gravity attaches it. So, but you got to start somewhere. And
he wants to be the rocket man. That's the thing.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the Rocketeer, man. That's the Rocketeer.
But
big difference. Big difference.
But like this technology, I mean, the way I saw it, at least initially, is okay. You create one of these balanced machines that creates that singular vector force or bias drive, and you put it in the middle of an airplane, a 747. So it pushes the car, or pushes or pulls the airplane along, depending on how you want to look at it. And all of a sudden, you don't need engines, you don't need anything. You're not pushing around the air around the vehicle. Now it goes forward. The wings create the lift through a vacuum over the top of the lift, of the wings, etc. But internally, it's being pushed along. So it's all of a sudden it'd be silent again. It'd be electrical. I mean, it wouldn't have to be electrical, but electrical makes most sense. And so the future would be, I mean, for one thing, there's, it's all based on scale. Well, if you can get a little one to put out X ounces of pressure, then multiply it times 1,000 or whatever. So, and that's all, highly theoretical. As I have at least momentarily proven the effects, but that can't be. That can't be mitigated, saying there was actually that the testing wasn't accurate enough, so it showed results that weren't really there. But the concept itself works. Like right now, I can do it with fluids, and in a very small way, and so it will. That is really eventually, that is what I want to be working on. But the flying car concept is definitely very exciting. I mean, that's a leg up to that next step.
Man, the next 75 years is going to be so interesting to live in.
It is. I mean, actually, the next 7.5 years. I mean, things are going so fast. Mm-hmm. They have looking at something. It looks like you put on some goggles. It looks just like you're on the Star Trek Enterprise, but it goes to the point where you feel pushback inside of a room. So when you're molding something, you actually feel it against your skin, like you are actually touching something that's not there. And they're just inches away from building, the
holodeck, holodeck,
those kind of things. And it's right now it's
hollow brothel.
A hollow brothel, absolutely.
Oh man. I wouldn't be surprised if that really does come to fruition pretty soon. I mean, look, a lot of stuff that was on that original Star Trek show and the shows after that inspired a lot of scientists, and people are just coming up with the ideas they saw on TV. What do you think 3D printing is? That's the replicator. It's an early version of the replicator. That's all it is.
It really is.
I can't wait for organic food replicators. That'll be interesting.
Oh, it's already happening.
Yep, there's actually I'm talking to a guy who and his whole thing is actually to create organic food replicators in third world countries, and they're working on it right now as we talk.
But what do they put in it to create the food?
Plastics
well, the material it's organic material. The whole point is that it can be transported without refrigeration, without spoilage, without that.
I thought you were going to say it's what the stuffed chicken nuggets are made of.
And
the pink slime.
The pink slime. But no, that's it's exciting. It's an exciting time, and it's just ramping up. The only discouraging part about it is it ramps up. There's less and less need for us people to be around. So what's going to happen in the future as far as what are people going to do for a living? That kind of thing. You're going to be able to replace so much of humanity with a machine that does your job better, faster, and cheaper than you do it. So what happens to you at that point?
Then the singularity happens, and we download ourselves to the net, and that's it. We're done. Organic life will change without a doubt. Let me ask you, have you seen the trailer for this movie Chappie yet?
No, I have not.
It's about a artificial police robot that actually goes all short circuit Wally on itself.
Okay.
Think of Short Circuit the movie. Remade. That's kind of the same thing.
So it's kind of what it is.
Yeah, pretty much.
I saw there's something that I think it was in China, and they show walking into the lobby, and there's women standing in front of you ready to help you with your bags and check in and that kind of thing, and you go through this process, and only after a few minutes do you realize that they're robotic. They aren't actual people, and they're getting so close in the technology, even the skin, the reflective nature, everything, and the voice that's getting to the point where it's you'll be paying extra if you want to actually talk to a human being here pretty soon.
You know what's scary though, Jesse, and this is
we already
happening here in Florida,
banks, don't we?
Yeah,
that's true.
That's a fantastic point. That's it's already
point,
there.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. No, but here's the scary part. Here in Florida, all the tolls, the highway tolls, are closing down. The man tolls, where people will just be there and give you your change, or whatever. That's gone. Now it's all toll by plate. The Sun Pass. That's a big thing here in Florida, and every state has their own version of the Sun Pass.
Sure.
And that's really what's been taken off all over Florida, and it's going to spread all over the U.S., and a lot of states already are seeing the effects of this thing, where it's all toll by plate, mostly in the Sun Passes, or whatever it's called in your state. Now, the thing is, the cost of these tolls have gone up. They haven't gone down, but they've made thousands of unemployment people unemployed because they've cut labor by like 80%. And now you have unemployment going up because of this, but the tolls are going up, which is the scary part. It's not like it's making it cheaper to go through the tolls. It's more expensive than it was before.
Sure.
Initially it's for the initial infrastructure build-out. That's what it is.
Yeah, but you'd figure they'd have had so many years of build-up of money, and they're saving so much money on cutting all this labor that that would kind of
you would hope,
the playing field for them.
Yeah, it's amazing. It started a while ago with the flashing lights and the stoplights, where they obviously take a picture of you and that kind of thing, and it's just going to this. And and I've always thought,
now by the way, that's been deemed illegal.
Yeah,
is it really?
States. Yeah,
really.
Taking camera photos, you can't face your accuser in a criminal court. So,
And I'm hoping that can stay in place. Just it would be nothing to use GPS to track your car. If you go 3 miles an hour over the speed limit, you just get one in the mailbox where you have no control, and you wouldn't need anybody monitoring, that kind of thing, except for a GPS satellite watching every car.
But see, that's scary in itself, though, Jesse, because they can know everywhere
that's a little bit
went.
Too Big Brother there,
Well, it is, but that is one thing that I think it's just a matter of time. I'm definitely not for it, but I'm thinking it's a matter of time where somehow to benefit us, it's going to be put into place.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to benefit us.
No.
Here's exactly where we go, where we are, when and why, how.
Here's a wacky idea. How about you make cars that don't go over 140 miles an hour? How's that for example? If the speed limit is 80 or 70 or 60, whatever, but why don't you make cars that go the speed limit? Why tempt us?
Yeah, I think that's the whole, because it's just you can. I think that's all. Yeah, it's like you can get to 70, but only in 3.2 seconds. So that's all you need. I don't know. Yeah, I doubt that is as much as humanity wants to be able to step on the gas. Yeah, what's more popular? 700 horsepower. What's that latest? I mean, just anything. It's just insane. And
I mean, one way to regulate it really is to make cars that go a certain speed limit that match the speed limit in the cities or in their state or whatever, and then have of course a section of speed cars or of sports cars or whatever that go faster for those people who want to drive those cars in special places where they can drive those cars. That would completely end the problem, I think. And you could have a section of people that have to have a special license to drive those cars, and they have to understand they can't drive those in the regular street because they are not regulated to drive in the street. I mean, that would be an easy way to get rid of the problem of people speeding on
what about people modifying your car to go faster than it should?
If your car gets modified,
it's like, sir, you have just voided.
No, they could put a chip in the car. They could check for that. If it gets modified in any way, the chip would notify the DMV or whatever, and the car can shut off. That technology also exists where they could actually shut the car off from another location, and nobody could drive that car.
Well, it'll be interesting.
Low jack in the middle of the air.
Low jack
in the air. They click low jack and it comes.
Yeah, you don't want that on one of these flying cars.
Again, if you give it to the 1%ers first, it's okay.
Well, that's true too.
It'll just got that. It'll be amazing. Like tonight, but when I was a kid, the having the police around in uniform and marked cars. It controlled everything. See a police car driving down the highway that has the lights on top. Everybody went the speed limit, but unfortunately, the system has turned into something that's quite different. It'd rather hide behind a bush somewhere and grab you. It's like what happened to the days. I mean, it used to be with that presence. It was just Anyway,
back then speeding tickets were not a source of revenue.
Right.
Now it is. It is a primary source of revenue. That's why they're hiding, waiting to get you.
Yeah, it's just it's so unfortunate because that in itself turns our lives into dollar signs, and it makes it more dangerous for all the rest of us because of that revenue stream that's created. Because it wasn't like that before, but it is like that now. Anyway,
it's not fair, but we can't do anything about it.
It sure feels like it. It's like I'm always happy when I see a police car actually driving around the town I live in, and where you can actually tell it's a police car. I'm
always happy when I see a police car crash because they were going too fast.
That happens too, I suppose.
That's lovely karma right there, I think.
That's gonna get you. But I'm all for. Well, it's almost like technology is great, but how can we simplify our lives and get back some of what we lost? And I don't understand where is you going back to California, way off the beat here. In California, I was listening to some show that there's for every teacher there's somebody in an administrative position in the state of California. So you get whacked out numbers like that and top heavy expenses. It can't work. There has to be some, and unfortunately, there has to be some balance somewhere. It's like, I don't know. I mean, how do we get off that train and make it back to something that's reasonable? And it's just not going the right way. It's continuing going the wrong direction, in my opinion, anyway.
Well, I mean, but who can fix the problem? That's the question.
Well, it's like you just.
Is there anybody that has any idea how to fix the issue?
Well, the people that are in charge of it are benefiting from the system,
right?
So they don't want to change it
because they're all paid and bought and paid for. I mean, look, everybody in position of power has been paid for and bought by whoever the shadow government is or whoever the big secret big brother is.
Right, and it is. It's like, well, I'm not. The more people I can, the more people I can get hired into these positions, the more money I make, the better I do. Obviously, it's not good for the taxpayer, but for the individual, it's great. And it's just everything's going that way. I always go down to the fire department here where I live, and it's like they don't have the money to buy new equipment, but yet their budget is 2 or 3 times what it was a couple of years ago. It's not because the money's not. It's because people want to get the money in their hands, but it's all being swallowed up before it gets down to the level of actually paying for equipment. Paying for salaries.
But also a lot of it, I would assume, also inflation has a little bit to do with that. Also, where the equipment is more expensive now than it was before. So while the budget has doubled or tripled, equipment has also gone up in price.
To a point, but I think that is definitely a part of it. But I think part of it is that all of our every industry is getting top heavy,
Oh,
the
yeah,
way it's being administered. It's all, most of the money is being focused to the very top, and after I pay myself and my pension and my I'm sorry, there's no real money to leave to give you a raise, kind of thing, because it's all been swallowed up. So let's go out and get some more money so we can get you that raise, and then it's just the same thing. It's just the money doesn't flow down to the backbone of the country anymore. It's being
Yeah, and you know what? You're absolutely right. And it's not just in Wall Street. It's not just in big corporations. It's a trickle down effect. It's happened really in even smaller companies. And I've seen that myself working here in Florida. I've seen the companies that mistreat their employees, and they really just refuse to pay properly for the service of their employees. And really is they just want to lighten their pockets, fill their pockets up with the money, and screw everybody else.
I mean, it used to be there used to be a semblance of balance. At least maybe I'm wrong.
That's
maybe
all gone now, Jesse.
It's gone.
Maybe I just believed it because I was a kid at the time, and I thought that the world was running the way it should have run. And now you're an adult, you kind of realize that maybe it's not run the way you think it should be ran. But it just doesn't seem. Like I said, it's not. The most is at the behest of just a few people. And everybody that's actually making the engine run are they're just not. They're not benefiting like they used to.
Well, you know what it is also, as this country has grown, Jesse, in the last 60 years, and more corporations open up, it has become more everybody's out for themselves type of thing. Mm-hmm. Before, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, there were less companies out there, and it had more of a mom and pops type of feel to a lot of the companies. As corporations took over, look, we saw mom and pop video stores die when Blockbuster Video came out, the big corporation.
Oh, sure. And now Blockbuster's gone and dead.
Now they're gone and dead. Also because another bigger corporation came over, streaming videos, and destroyed Blockbuster Video, Netflix. So, as corporations come, they destroy that infrastructure, and really it becomes a, grab cash, or that's really all it is for these companies. They're just in it for the money at the beginning, and then they, like Blockbuster, they just air out in 10, 15 years, 20 years, or whatever it is, and they're gone. And really the economy suffers at the end, because look, the economy is not doing that great as it is. Do you think Blockbuster going out of business helped in any way? A big corporation like that?
It's hard to say, but there's I think it used to be capitalism has changed a little bit in the last 30
definitely.
years.
Yeah.
Where it was you created a small company, you did what was right, and you helped employ people, and you made basically that company now was a living thing, and it was a very positive thing. And
it was a family affair almost. Jesse.
Right,
it was like
exactly.
The whole family ran it. Moms, pops, grandfathers ran it for years. I mean, that was America in the 50s and 60s.
It was, and there's a balance now. Is that to start a small company, we're becoming so over-regulated. I mean, I agree there has to be regulation, but how do you create a balance in regulation? Because you can regulate anybody out of the business unless you're too big to fail, and that's what's going on. The huge corporations are the ones helping to make the rules and make it more difficult. Right now, as a small thing, I'm butting my head against it a little bit. You can go out there and find investors that are accredited, certain net worth, that kind of thing, and they can buy stock right from your company through you. You don't have to go through an institution to do it. But if you want to go to the regular mom and pop, the regular people, hey, I believe in your idea. I want to buy $100 in stock, or I want to buy $1,000 in stock. You can't do that because the SEC is getting in the way, and it's right. Like the reason they're getting in the way is because that wipes out the broker system. So it's like, no, we're gonna get things in. There is legislation in place to try to get this moving forward, to really get the money spread around a little bit. But right now, the big guys on the block are impeding that for the sake of, we have to be very careful how we move forward on this, and we got to move slowly and da. And of course you do. Of course you. I mean, but there's one thing is you're moving so far slowly that when it comes to the point where you're the one that's benefiting, the slower you move, you got to really question the allegiance there. So it is. It's like as of last November, you were supposed to be able to actually go out and talk to a guy on the street that, like my car. Somebody say, hey, I love your idea. Can I be part of it? Yes, you can do it this way. But that's still not there yet. And it's just, and it could be. Someone should have the ability. I mean, you have the ability to go and buy other investments that are crazy, risky. But the SEC controls the equity in the companies, and that's like I want to beat up on the SEC. Anybody listen to this? But the whole point is that they're actually that system was put in place to allow crowdfunding was also put in place to do equity crowdfunding,
right.
And it's just equity crowdfunding. It is better than it was, but it's nowhere where it was supposed to have been. They've had 3 years now to get it done, and it's just nothing. It's on the level that's going to actually really help a lot of small companies. It just hasn't.
My question, though, Jesse, is where is the Bill Gates of the world? When it comes to technologies like this, for example.
Oh no, they're busy giving out vaccines in third world countries. They want nothing to do with this stuff.
You would figure one of these big billionaire companies of Microsoft, Apple, Bill Gates, whoever.
Population control first. Sorry, no.
Population control.
That's true. That's true. We are a big
I'm
brother.
wrong,
We are the New World Order. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I agree.
Paul Allen's company, I think it's called, did you call it Vulcan, out of Seattle, and they would they actually they would look as like an angel investor and look to do things with people, that kind of thing. I'm not quite sure where that went, but I mean it's back to the kind of thing is now if you want to go out and try to get an angel investor, go on TV and go in front of Shark Tank or something like that, where it's just a big reality kind of thing. But it is difficult.
Shark Tank will eat you alive.
Yeah.
I mean it's amusing, but it's not definitely it's a unique.
Oh, it's a brilliant show. I got to admit it. I really like the show, but wow, yeah. Funny as it is, I know a good I can honestly say out of all the seasons, I can honestly say I've met at least a dozen plus people that have been on Shark Tank at the shows that I've been at as they were trying to hawk their product.
Oh, you mean they've got money from Shark Tank and now they actually have the product out for sale?
No. They were at the home shows and all these other events before going on Shark Tank.
Oh, before they went on. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, give it to them. I'm an entrepreneurial spirit. Go out there and do what you need to do to try to get it out there. So.
Yeah, honestly, Shark Tank is great, but I want to meet the people that are the leftovers that didn't make it onto the TV show and find money for them.
Yeah, that would be the Shark Tank dropout now on ABC. Exactly. Because there's some great moves. And, unfortunately, part of Shark Tank. I mean, you're talking about egos and that kind of thing that come along, and something that might be great is totally trashed. And the opinion of a few people doesn't dictate the quantifiable, the numbers of the whole marketplace. Right. But that's kind of the way that the show depicts it. But albeit, if that was your your last result to go on that show, I assume more power to you. Hopefully, you get something done there.
If it's the last resort, it's the last resort.
Yeah, right. I'm kind of like myself for the car. I'm doing the crowdfunding deal, and I'm really hopeful, and I have some leads for some larger investors that want to come on, and they see where this is heading and why this is definitive in the future of the technology and this flying car is itself is a very good opportunity to get aboard. So there it goes again, another pound. I don't know.
Another pun from Jesse Marcel. I've seen great success on these crowdfunded projects, and again, we talked last time you were on about the guy who's doing the Superman movie, and if he can make that money, there's definitely room for something important like this to get made. So I think this is definitely a good avenue for you to go to. But I still ask the question: where are the big billionaires? I mean, I understand they're out there trying to create craziness in other countries and kill everybody with Ebola or whatever it is they're doing, spreading diseases. But there's certain people within the billionaire community, like Mark Cubans of the world, who would love to invest in something like this. I don't understand why hasn't these people actually come out and embraced ideas like these.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that they're obviously in their own world doing what they're doing, and it's like anything else.
Have you thought about it? Maybe approaching somebody like a Mark Cuban, for example. Do you know who Mark Cuban is, by the way?
No, I do not. To even say, I know.
Well, he's a very wealthy man. A very wealthy man. He owns the Dallas Mavericks, the basketball team. He actually, I believe, he was early on one of the owners, if not the creator, of Yahoo. And he sold. I think that's how he made his money. I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is how he made his money. He sold everything for a couple billion. Yes, he's a billionaire, basically.
Let's just say he's well-to-do.
It's one of those things.
He loves spending money on stuff like this. By the way, he'll love spending money on stuff like this.
Well, it's just a matter of being able to get an audience with them. is knowing somebody that knows somebody, and that's kind. At least that's what I've learned in working in the film industry. It's all based on
who you know.
If somebody calls it, well, hey, he's my brother's uncle, I can put a phone call in for you, and then all of a sudden you get an audience, and then all of a sudden you can make things happen. It's just getting that over that little hump, getting that 5 minutes to be able to explain what you're doing and how you're doing it and why it's something interesting.
Right. Yeah, you need that bridge, and also you need to know who the guy is.
Sure, that helps too.
Yeah,
there's
a little bit.
There's a lot. There are a lot of those people, but like for this car, it's not. It's a lot of money to me, but
right.
Personally, but over in the scheme of things, it's not much money to put this thing together. And
right.
for an investor to come forward that has this or a few investors come forward and make this thing happen, it's a very small piece of the pie. So yeah.
Now down the road, when the project is done, and I'm positive this is going to be a very successful project, Jesse. I think this is going to be really good for you in your life, and you're going to succeed with this.
I know. I'm sure it will.
Have you thought of the ramifications of what this will do to your life, though, once this takes off? Because this is a big. This is going to take pretty much your entire life from here on out.
Well, it's one of those things. I can get it going. Get to the point where we're actually in a mode of building them and selling them and working with the government and creating this system. Yeah.
Like I said, it's going to take your life, Jesse.
I'm sorry. I had to laugh.
He's done. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I had to laugh. You said working with the government.
Yeah, I know, work with the government. They'll tell me what I got. They'll tell me what I got to do.
That's the best joke he said all night, by the way. That is the best part.
I can't stop laughing. Oh my god. Sorry.
But where my love is to take this car and then evolve to the next step, which is this future technologies and theoretical technologies, and keep going forward, with all that kind of thing. So it's just a matter of, this is just it's a very good stepping stone that I can see, being huge. And it's not it can. It's a matter of it will. It's just I'm not quite sure the exact path it's going to take to get there at this point.
Okay, I got to ask a stupid question. While you're doing all this, what is your full-time thing that you're doing now to make sure everything is covered and you're surviving, though?
I do everything. I am the perennial I will wait on tables. I don't care. Whatever it takes to be able to support my family and me while we're doing this.
I want to make sure you're being taken. Dude, are you surviving with all the time and effort that you're putting into all this?
It's interesting. But you just
that's
work
rather
hard.
vague.
You work a couple jobs. You just do whatever it takes to make it happen.
So are you the one that goes, yeah, you want fries with that?
Yeah, it's like I'm up to the fry maker. I'm pretty excited about that. But just everything, I do. I have books out there. My book out there sells, and a documentary I put together is out there selling, and I have some of that kind of thing going on. So it's just kind of a conglomeration of a bunch of different things. I do work in the film industry, where I'm lucky enough to get a little bit out of that. There's just a bunch of different things.
By the way, have you thought of the possibility of maybe doing a documentary on the process of putting this together and selling that as a method not only for promotion, but for extra revenue?
Absolutely. Like I said, one of the perks on the plan right now is where I'm writing a book for it right now.
Right.
But a documentary will do great too. It's I always find it's kind of funny when if you're out there doing a meet and greet with people. If I'm meeting them face to face and shaking hands and signing, people want books. If people are buying across the internet, they're buying DVDs. So it behooved to have both of them.
If you need a director, look me up. Just saying.
I will.
We got to. I'm just saying. Put my name on your list there of directors.
I will do it.
We have a caller on the line, the one, the only Danny, who wants to ask Jesse a question. Danny, ask away.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Hey Danny.
Hey Jesse.
Things are going great.
That's good. How's the campaign coming? How's the crowdsourcing, Indiegogo coming? How's that coming along?
Well, thanks for asking. It's really just boils down to the numbers. So it's like the more I can get everybody out there to like it, to go to the campaign, either become part of the campaign financially, or just simply help me to retweet it. There's all kinds of social buttons on the Indiegogo site. If you could press those for me, and then leave a comment. just your opinion, good, bad, or indifferent. But I need comments. For some reason, there was a little problem with Indiegogo when I started it, and I lost about 20 comments. They never appeared, and they're all gone. And comments help drive you up in the Indiegogo system, and I think we finally got it fixed. So like I said, anybody, if they spend a couple minutes and go over there, I'd greatly appreciate it.
It sounds like. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, and you can locate it through the radio station right here. There's a banner. You can click on that and go to the website, and it'll also go to the Indiegogo campaign itself. It's really easy to get there.
Yeah, for the listeners on PSN Radio, just go to psn-radio.com, and right under, like Jesse was saying, under our player, there's the banner for the website. You can go right through there and find the Indiegogo. And really, I mean, look, for all of us and all you listening out there who are fans of flying cars, and you've been fans your whole life, this is the chance right here to make it happen. So go there, donate a few bucks, 20, 30, 50 bucks, $100, whatever you could spare. I mean, it's going to make a great thing come to life. I mean, like I said earlier, this is like the dream of everybody in geekdom, Jesse. Everybody who's a geek, who grew up loving Back to the Future movies, wanted flying cars and wanted hoverboards and wanted this technology. Everybody who loves Star Trek, Star Wars, this is what we all want. I mean, flying cars, man, that's the future. It really is. And you're right on the cusp of making it happen for us. So my hat's off to you.
Present on the geek.
Well, yeah, and I might say something. I mean, you can add a comment. I mean, we have perks down to $1. Everything you can possibly imagine. Like anything helps. Anything and everything. Even if it's not socially, tell your friend about it. Tell anybody. Scream it from the rooftop.
Speaking of perks, what's some of the perks that people are going to get if they donate to the cause here?
A couple of them are some the original drawings I used to create the car from, posters, those kind of thing, and then up to I'm writing a book on flying cars and where the Typhoon, the name of the car. It's all about the construction and the eventual flying of the Typhoon. Also, a desktop model of the Typhoon, a little key. The car is going to use a proximity key, and what you receive is it's identical to what you use to start the car, basically, and those sort of things. So quite a few different things.
Okay, now here's a question: do we know what the car is going to sound like with the motor that's in it?
It's going to sound like a blow dryer.
Can we get the sound effect?
Not bad.
Can we put a little speaker in it to make it sound like from the Jetsons?
I think
you just want that, don't you?
I was
think
thinking about.
Come on, tell me that wouldn't be cool.
That would be awesome, and I like the the lead sled, the lights and stuff like that cool. Coming down out of the fans, it'd be just totally awesome.
All you got to do is get someone going, Elroy, and you're okay.
That would be a fantastic entry into the documentary, wouldn't it?
Actually, I'm curious. Would Hanna-Barbera let you license the rights to use the Jetsons?
I don't know.
Ooh, I know someone. Kind of ooh, I will reach out to someone for that. That would be very, very cool.
That would be too cool. Yeah. Exactly. If you could put that together, that'd be amazing.
Well, it's either that or you get Harrison Ford doing the Blade Runner ship.
And that's all good too.
That's pretty good too. Yeah,
that'll work also. Yeah. Well,
can't hate on Harrison Ford.
Well, I could get Chewbacca.
Chewbacca would be good too.
I could get Chewbacca.
They're all good. I mean, C-3PO, R2-D2, he could fit in there really easy.
You could get William Shatner, and he'll sing Rocket Man.
I think he'll sing Rocket Man?
Oh, my God.
That's the way to go.
He has a good
That's
voice.
it, right there. We got to get that. You got to get that.
That's what you got to get, Jesse. Now,
I'm waiting for George Takei to go, oh, my, it'll fly.
A flying car.
Oh, there we go. See, this is the synergy and the energy needs to be created. Yes, get Takei. Yeah, it says, oh my, it will fly.
Oh my, it'll fly.
I can see the commercial on TV now with Takei just walking into a white room with one of these flying cars right in the center of the room, and in a scientist code or whatever, and he just goes right up to it and he just looks at it and he says, "Oh my."
Oh my.
That's it. That's the whole commercial, and then the banner comes out with the name of the company. That's it. That would be the whole commercial right there.
Super Bowl 2017. We're buying a spot for the Super Bowl. Come on, folks. Let's donate. I'm in for that one. Come on.
That's going to be a whole nother. That would be a whole nother Indiegogo or Kickstarter campaign for that.
To get George Takei?
No, for the Super Bowl.
For both, yeah. Well, the Super Bowl is expensive, man. 30 seconds, like $5 million. Jesus.
Yeah, but can you imagine? Well, yeah, that would be cool. The one thing, by the way, Jesse, you do need to put on the thing. You are definitely going to have to put on inflatable/deflatable pontoons.
That's an interesting idea. There is an airbag that goes underneath it for crash purposes, but
no, but I'm saying inflatable and deflatable pontoons, so that way it's land, sea, and air.
That is perfect. Right. I did have that. I did have it in mind about. Obviously, from the Northwest, about being able to travel from the islands outside of Seattle into Seattle real easily, rather than have to ferry your car over and be stuck in all that mayhem. You can just get right there.
Exactly, but you got to at least make a 4-seater for this thing.
Oh yeah,
you got to have a 4-seater.
Yep.
And it's actually just scale. It's real easy. It's just the idea of making a single-seater tester made the most sense. But as far as creating the next level up, it's nothing. It's a matter of a point and click on a few parts. It's really
honestly, I don't think for proof of concept a 1-seater is the best option. You want a 4-seater as your test vehicle, as your first run, to prove its viability in a commuter situation.
Well, I was thinking about the sports car being 2-seater to start out with. That's something I'll think about because, like I said, it's really, like I said, it's just a matter of scale. It's not really a.
Right.
I'm just thinking of it. I'm just thinking about it from a consumer pull the trigger kind of a point of view. Where,
well, Alan, you also have to remember, as the technology gets perfected, I mean, scale and size will get larger as he's able to perfect this technology. They'll be able to make bigger cars.
Right, but if you could show a 4-seater right off the bat.
Oh, it would be great.
That would be like, okay, guess what? USPS will take 30 of them for delivering mail to trial run it for all I know. This is the new Zip car. This is the new car rental at the airport. Literally.
I'm sorry. Jesse, what about a minivan model for the soccer moms?
Well, I mean, the idea of what keeps it stable can be done to any size. Yep. It's just about. I mean, you can do it the size of a bus. I mean, there really isn't. I mean, you're not. Like I said, it's a scale. It's not. You're not being. There's not a problem with materials and structure and those kind of things.
Yeah, but as you scale up, I'm sorry, Jesse. As you scale up, doesn't the cabin become larger and take airflow away from the center fan?
Well, no. I mean, it has to be scaled around the center. The center portion has to grow with the size of the cabin.
So it would become wider, which means it wouldn't fit into a parking spot.
Yeah, it'll become wider. But if you look at a turbine fan, it's almost all the thrust is made on the outside edge, not the inside edge. So you're talking about like a foot increase in diameter is a huge increase in thrust, like multiple times. So it's not like we're talking about a very large number.
Sorry, I'm not the rocket scientist here.
That's okay.
He's not the rocket man.
So no, it could still be a 4-seater could still be put in a garage easily. There wouldn't be. I mean, it would be a 2-car garage, but it really take about 1.5 spaces, quite honestly.
Okay.
I mean, how soon after you have the initial 2-seater done do you think the 4-seater would get done?
Like I said, it's all scale, and because everything is done so automated anymore that with the way technology we're using it, I mean, you could literally go from a 2-seater to a 4-seater within months.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
it's literally point and click on the molds, and because the actual software on the computer, where those elements would stay the same regardless if it's 2 people or 10 people.
Does the software make all the calculations for thrust and everything for you?
Yes, it does.
What program is that? I want a copy for what I want to do.
It's really not very complicated. I mean, it's just basically the computer is. I mean, your iPhone or your Android has the kind of technology in it. It's going to be sensing, through gyros, its direction and stability and that kind of thing.
No. I'm saying the design software that you designed the vehicle in.
Oh, the design software?
Yeah,
SolidWorks.
That's what?
SolidWorks. How
hard is that for me to grab a hold of?
Not impossible. I don't know. It's you can go on SolidWorks. You get it's kind of expensive software, but you can get hold of them. They'll give you a tryout and that kind of thing on it.
Okay.
And it's just computer aided design software. So it's kind of the standard out there.
Is it like AutoCAD? Is it like
something similar to Autodesk, AutoCAD, all those? Yes.
Okay.
And they can And all those can now produce the SD files that you use in 3D printing.
Wow. Good to know.
So basically, like you're saying, so basically, if you can just feed the data into the software and send that to the 3D printer as far as these custom or these modifications that we're talking about. So
yeah,
it really sounds simple.
Yeah, it is, and it's the actual car isn't made of the plastic that 3D printers use, but the molds that make the parts can be created from a 3D printer, and that's one of the biggest challenges. So it's just you create a different size mold or whatever, and then the
you stretch it out on the computer, just make the mold bigger. Yeah.
Exactly. Then the carbon fiber is laid in, and voila. Mm-hmm. So you can. I mean, we're oversimplifying it, but it really that's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, there is
just a little oversimplifying. That's all.
Yeah. But it just because of technology and what's available today, it's crazy. And just like recently, just the filaments used in 3D printers, they're creating better and better compositions that are getting stronger and stronger, and that they work better for molding processes and that kind of thing. So it's in essence getting easier and easier.
Anyway, Jesse, awesome having you on the show. We have a minute before we got to wrap up, and I know
thank you again.
We have to have you on again really soon, and I want to bring you on periodically as soon as as much as possible to keep promoting this project. And again, I urge everybody to go on the Indiegogo page and place some cash in there, folks. This is a dream that he's helping make a reality. Jesse, give out the website addresses again to everybody listening in.
Yep, it's Airborne Motors, AIRBORNE Motors.com. So you can find all of it right there.